Hi guys, it's me, Simon here, and today we'll be doing another video on the new Slight banners that came out today. And I don't think we got an event here, but we're looking at the new banner unit, which is DAGRUEL. Looks pretty nice. I actually looked at it last night, but I went to bed afterwards. So, and if you look behind me, I actually got the new Shion, which is very nice. I also got Shizu, who is both very great units in my opinion. It's like, honestly, I think Light Shion and the perfect scenario is easily the best unit for like DPS and light team, as long as you have a what's called Shizu, because she has a pierce rate which only works if you have a pierce, which means that you should have a pierce rate unit, and because she only has a 2% pierce rate, which makes it so like you basically can't really pierce. So you, in my opinion, you do need Shizu for Shion to work really well. If not, I think Gazelle is still the best unit for light team, but with Shizu, which I actually did get to, you need Shizu and Shion to make the best use of the Pierce. If not, I think Gazelle is still the best DPS for light. But I've been playing with them both. They're really not nuts together. Like, they're one of the best combos. Like, if you want them, you have to get them both. Like they only work really well with each other. Like, that's just how it is. But yeah, I think both Shion and Shizu are really good. I think with Rimuru and DAGRUEL, I think they're good DPSs. I just don't think they're better than Gazelle. So like for them, they have to be good enough as support for Shion, who I think is better than Gazelle in the perfect scenario. If you have Shizu, of course. But yeah, I was looking more into Rimuru. I think Rimuru is actually pretty cracked. Even as just an individual unit, I think his first skill is super nuts. Just for like having if on any green teams, just because you can get all gauge so much faster with him. He looks really cracked, and his first his pierce resistance is for 2 turns, which is really good. I think I want to look into these units because I think this is how I'm going to rate, like knowing how these units work. That's how I'm going to rate this DAGRUEL. I think Rimuru is a really cracked unit. I think for the light team he is a must use because he has low cost skills, and his first skill is really nuts for getting a lot of ults, which is going to be important for Shion in my opinion, and a lot for the pierce resistance. I think Rimuru, like last week, I thought he was okay, a good unit, of course, just not as useful. I think Rimuru, after like a week of looking into it and everything, I think Rimuru is one of the best supports for the light team right now, just because of the fact that it's green and Souls of Secret Gauge is really good, just for ulting, quick content. Like he's really good for helping the light team clear content even faster. Even though I think Shizu and Shion Ray does that really quick, he really helps with it, and his skills are really strong for helping them out. But taking that into consideration, do I think DAGRUEL is a better support than Rimuru? Let's look into it. So I think you only have a 0.7%, which is less than Rimuru's 1% rate, so the chances of getting him is worse. But let's look at his stats. His stats is attack roll. From what I'm looking at, I think it means he's probably going to harder than Rimuru does, which is fine. But the question is, like in my opinion, that's not going to be too relevant. And he has also single target, so obviously he's going to do a lot of damage. He's also physical attack, very nice for ulting. He's going to be a good pseudo DPS, but I just don't think he's going to be better than Shion, which is that, in my opinion, being a better support for Shion is more important than being a good pseudo DPS, just because Shion can do enough damage. You already have Gazelle and everything. Assuming you don't have those two, Gazelle or Shion, he is going to be a great DPS for you to get. But since the banner is still out for Shion, you might as well just summon for Shion and hope for Shizu as well. Because I think, honestly, I don't think he's, I think he's more easier to use, but I think in more better terms, you gotta just use Gazelle or Shion. Let's look at his first skill. Smash Stance. Transfer another random character soul card times 2 to self. Increases own souls of damage by 5%, 3% per one turn. So this is Benny Mar's skill, which makes it so like he can be a technical support in that you can switch his skills and then switch into Shion, which is very good, I think, but it's not going to be that correct because it's 25 cost, which makes it hard. It doesn't really help with the pierce resistance, pierce power, or Shizu's thing. So I don't think this is going to be too impactful in that aspect, just because it doesn't really help in terms of like the second skill. So I think this damage for himself is just not useful because you don't really want to do DPS with him. You want to do with any other DPSs. And if you have Shion or Shizu, I think if you don't have any of those units, this is a great skill. But if you have Shion, you might as well just not use the skill generally, just because it's too high cost for the team in the early game, and in late game, I don't think it's really that useful. Then the second skill, I think the second skill is actually where he is a good support for the team. 15 cost, amazing. You can just spam it if you want. If you don't want to use it for the ult damage, this is very good just for helping the pierce resist rate and stuff like that, and the light resistance. That's really good, just because light resistance means more damage. Always great. But in my opinion, I think his skills are overall not as great as Rimuru. Rimuru provides ult gauge and support and damage support, which makes him, in my opinion, much better. And he also has orb change, which is always good to have. And he has a 6 combo, which if it's solo seek skills, it will give him 10% rate pierce. And in my opinion, it's not going to be that relevant because Shizu is probably Shion or Gaggle is your main DPS, but you can use this as support, which is fun. And you have to use a Milm, and I think Milm is not really useful for this team. So honestly, in my opinion, I think this unit is very good. I just don't think, I think he's very good for this. Like, I think he's a very good unit generally, but I just think he's not that useful, like a must summon for light team, because you already have Shion Shizu. Like, if he came out for like Earth Month instead of Valentine, I think he'd be an excellent unit. But since he didn't come for Earth, like he came in a month where the month where he had a lot of DPS. And honestly, I think Jackal is a good unit. I just don't think he's a summon, must summon, just because he doesn't have points. He was only 0.7, and the skills and stuff is not going to be as impactful as Rimuru. And that's my opinion for this unit. I think Jackal is a great unit. I just don't think he's like a good enough summon for like what you need. Like honestly. But yeah, this is my light team if you want to see it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys there. DAGRUEL is a good unit. I just don't think he's a must-summon. Hope to see you guys there.